She's beautiful enough to warm my bed. But marry a foreigner with nothing to offer the empire?
She's beautiful enough to warm my bed, but marry a foreigner with nothing to offer the empire. Kang Min-ho's cold laugh echoed through the penthouse, unaware that Ngozi was standing right behind him. The room went lethal silent as his best friend, the syndicate's most feared assassin, stood up and did the unthinkable. He didn't just defend her. He walked over, dropped to one knee, and in that single glance, Seoul's deadliest war quietly begins. Welcome to Black in Korea Stories, besties. Please like, share, and subscribe. Ngozi's fingers go numb. The crystal in her hand slips, bouncing once on the marble floor before rolling to a stop at Min-ho's Italian leather shoes. 23 pairs of eyes turn toward her. 23 members of Seoul's most powerful crime syndicate witness the exact moment Kang Min-ho's casual cruelty finds its target. She should run. Every survival instinct screams at her to disappear through the service entrance she came from, to pretend she never heard the man she's been dating for 8 months reduce her to a warm body and a foreign passport. But Ngozi Eze has spent 26 years learning that running only delays the inevitable, so she stands there, spine straight, chin lifted, brown eyes blazing with a dignity that makes several men look away in shame. Min-ho's expression flickers, surprise, then irritation, then something colder. He doesn't apologize. Men like Kang Min-ho don't apologize, they recalculate. Ngozi. His voice carries the same smooth control he uses in boardrooms and back alleys. I didn't realize you'd arrived early. Clearly. The single word lands like a slap. Around the room, men shift uncomfortably. No one speaks to Kang Min-ho with that tone. No one except, that's enough. Voice comes from the corner of the room, from the shadows where Seoul's most dangerous man has been watching everything. Park Jin-woo rises from his chair like smoke taking form, and the temperature in the penthouse drops 10 degrees. Jin-woo is everything Min-ho pretends to be. Where Min-ho inherited his empire, Jin-woo built his reputation body by body, secret by secret. He's the syndicate's silent blade, the man they send when negotiations fail and examples need to be made. For 3 years, he stood at Min-ho's right hand, lethal and loyal, until now. His footsteps echo across the marble as he crosses the room. He doesn't look at Min-ho. His dark eyes are fixed entirely on Ngozi, and something in his gaze makes her breath catch. She's met Jin-woo perhaps a dozen times at various syndicate functions. He's always been polite, distant, forgettable in the way that truly dangerous men learn to be. But the way he's looking at her now is anything but forgettable. He stops 3 feet away. Then, with the entire syndicate watching, Park Jin-woo, assassin, enforcer, living weapon, lowers himself to one knee. What are you doing? Min-ho's voice carries a dangerous edge. Jin-woo, get up! Jin-woo doesn't acknowledge him. He reaches into his jacket pocket and withdraws a small velvet box that he's carried for 6 months, waiting for a moment that finally arrived. Watched you, he says quietly, his voice meant only for her. Every dinner, every event, every moment he looked past you like you were furniture. I've watched you carry yourself like a queen in a room full of men who don't deserve to breathe your air. Ngozi's heart hammers against her ribs. You don't know me. I know you send money home to Lagos every month. I know you stayed late at the gallery for 3 weeks to help a struggling artist get his first show. I know you cry in your car after these events because you feel invisible, and I know, his voice roughens, that you are the furthest thing from invisible I have ever seen. He opens the box. Inside, a ring catches the light, not the ostentatious diamond Min-ho would have chosen, but something warmer. A deep amber stone surrounded by tiny black diamonds, set in rose gold. I'm not asking you to love me, Jin-woo continues. I'm asking you to let me prove that you are worth everything Min-ho said you're not. Marry me, be my wife. Let me spend however long it takes showing you what a man who actually sees you looks like. Silence in the penthouse is absolute, then Min-ho laughs and the sound is ugly. You've lost your mind. She's been warming my bed for 8 months. She deserves better than your bed. Jin-woo still doesn't look at him. She deserves better than you'll ever understand. She's a foreigner, a nobody. She runs a gallery that barely breaks even and has nothing. She has me. Words hang in the air like a declaration of war, because that's exactly what they are. In the syndicate, loyalty is blood. Jin-woo hasn't just insulted Min-ho. He's fractured an alliance that holds half of Seoul's underworld together. Ngozi stares at the ring, then at the man kneeling before her. Her mind races through every interaction she's had with Jin-woo. The time he held an umbrella over her head while Min-ho talked business in the rain. The way he always positioned himself between her and the more volatile syndicate members. The flowers that appeared at her gallery after her first major show, unsigned, unexplained, and in her favorite shade of deep orange. Why? She whispers. Why would you destroy everything for someone you've barely spoken to? Jin-woo's jaw tightens. Because some things are worth destroying everything for, and I've been silent long enough. Behind them, Min-ho moves. His hand goes to his waist where Ngozi knows he keeps a weapon. But before he can draw, Jin-woo is on his feet and Ngozi behind him, and his own gun is leveled at his former best friend's chest. Don't. The single word carries the weight of 100 kills. Min-ho freezes. For the first time, something like fear flickers in his eyes. He's always known what Jin-woo is capable of. He just never imagined that violence would be aimed at him. You would die for her, Min-ho asks incredulously. A woman you barely know. I would kill for her, Jin-woo responds flatly. That should concern you more. Standoff holds for 5 agonizing heartbeats. Then Min-ho's hand drops from his weapon. His face twists into something cruel and calculating. Fine, take her. But understand what you're choosing, brother. He spits the last word like poison. You're choosing a foreigner over family, an outsider over the empire. The moment you walk out that door with her, you become my enemy. I can live with that. The question is directed at Ngozi, and for the first time she feels the full weight of what's happening. This isn't a romantic gesture. It's a chess move in a game played with bullets and blood. Jin-woo has just painted a target on both their backs. She should say no. She should apologize, smooth things over, go back to being Min-ho's invisible girlfriend until she can extract herself safely. That's what a smart woman would do. But Ngozi has spent 8 months being smart, being careful, being everything Min-ho wanted her to be. And what did it get her? Beautiful enough to warm my bed. She looks at Jin-woo, really looks at him. At the scar that bisects his left eyebrow, at the way his hand remains steady despite the loaded weapon, at the intensity in his eyes that makes her feel more seen than 8 months with Min-ho ever did. Yes. The word escapes before she can stop it. Jin-woo's eyes widen slightly. Yes, I'll marry you. She takes a breath, steadying herself. But you should know I'm not some damsel you need to save. If we do this, we do it as partners, equals. I won't trade one man who underestimates me for another. Something shifts in Jin-woo's expression. Respect, desire, a hunger that makes her skin heat despite the danger surrounding them. I wouldn't want you any other way. He extends his hand. She takes it. And together, they walk toward the penthouse elevator, leaving chaos in their wake. The doors close on Min-ho's furious face and 24 men who just witnessed the beginning of a war. In the mirrored elevator walls, Ngozi catches her reflection next to Jin-woo's. Her natural hair is swept up elegantly, her brown skin glowing against the deep burgundy of her dress. She looks like a woman who just bet everything on a stranger. Because she did. The elevator descends 40 floors in silence. Ngozi counts each one, watching numbers blur past while her pulse refuses to steady. Beside her, Jin-woo holsters his weapon with practiced ease, the motion so natural it sends a chill down her spine. She just agreed to marry an assassin, a man who kills for a living, a man she's exchanged perhaps 50 words within 8 months. What has she done? Jin-woo catches her starring. You're regretting it. I'm processing it. She squares her shoulders. There's a difference. Something like admiration flickers across his features. Most people would be screaming by now. I'm not most people. His voice drops, intimate in the confined space. You're not. Elevator opens onto an underground parking garage. Jin-woo guides her toward a black Mercedes with tinted windows, his hand hovering at the small of her back without quite touching. The almost contact burns hotter than skin on skin. Where are we going? She asks. Somewhere safe. My apartment in Gangnam. No. Ngozi stops walking. I have a life, Jin-woo, a gallery, artists depending on me. A showing in 3 days that I've been planning for months. I'm not disappearing into some safe house while my world burns. Jin-woo turns to face her, frustration tightening his jaw. Min-ho will retaliate within hours. He'll send men to your gallery, your apartment, everywhere you've ever. Then we protect those places. She holds his gaze without flinching. I told you in that penthouse, partners, equals. That means you don't get to make decisions about my life without me. For a long moment, he just stares at her. Then, unexpectedly, he laughs. The sound is rusty, like he's forgotten how. Going to be trouble, aren't you? The very best kind. His eyes darken with something that makes her breath catch. I'm counting on it. They reach a compromise. Ngozi's apartment first to gather essentials. Then his Gangnam safe house, at least until they can assess the threat level. She insists on driving her own car, a modest Hyundai that makes Jin-woo's lip twitch in what might be amusement. The drive to her neighborhood in Itaewon takes 20 minutes through late-night Seoul traffic. Jin-woo follows close behind in his Mercedes, and she watches him in her rearview mirror. The way he scans every intersection. The way his head turns at each passing vehicle. He moves like a man expecting violence at every turn. Because he is, she realizes. This is his normal. Her apartment is a small 2-bedroom above a convenience store. Not glamorous, but hers. She's lived here for 3 years, building her gallery from nothing, learning Korean until she dreams in it, carving out a space in a city that often treats foreigners like temporary inconveniences. Jin-woo follows her up the narrow stairs, and she's suddenly hyper-aware of how small her world must look to him. The man who just pulled a gun on a crime lord is now standing in her living room, examining her collection of African masks and the photos of Lagos she's hung on every wall. Your family. He nods toward a picture of her parents and 3 younger siblings. My reason for everything. She grabs a duffel bag from her closet, starts throwing clothes inside. I send most of my earnings home. My brother Emmanuel just started university. My sister Ada needs surgery for her heart. My parents. She trails off, throat tightening. They sacrificed everything to get me here. I can't let them down. Jin-woo is quiet for a moment. Min-ho knew all this. He knew I had family obligations. He called it charming. The bitterness in her voice surprises even her. I think he liked that I needed his money, made me easier to control. Yet you stayed. Ngozi pauses, a sweater clutched in her hands. I stayed because I thought it was the price of success, of acceptance, of being something other than an outsider in a country that never lets you forget you're foreign. She meets his eyes. I was wrong. Jin-woo crosses the small room in 3 strides. He doesn't touch her, but he's close enough that she can feel the heat radiating from his body, close enough to see the scar tissue on his knuckles. Not an outsider to me, he says quietly. You never were. Phone shatters the moment. The ringtone she assigned to Min-ho, a sharp, clinical chime, cuts through the silence. She looks at the screen, 15 missed calls, 23 text messages. The latest one reads, "You have 1 hour to return what's mine, or I start with the gallery." Jin-woo reads it over her shoulder. His expression doesn't change, but something dangerous stirs in his eyes. He'll do it, Ngozi whispers. The gallery, there are pieces inside worth hundreds of thousands. Artists who trusted me with their life's work. If he destroys it, he won't. Jin-woo's hand finally touches her, just his fingers on her chin, tilting her face up. I need you to trust me. Can you do that? The question hangs between them like a test. Trust a man she barely knows, who kills for a living, who just upended her entire existence. But something in his eyes, something wounded and fierce and desperately sincere, makes her answer without hesitation. Yes. He makes a single phone call, speaks in rapid Korean too fast for her to follow, though she catches fragments. Gallery protection now. When he hangs up, his shoulders have relaxed slightly. Have people, he explains. Loyal to me, not the syndicate. They'll secure the gallery within 20 minutes. No one touches your artist's work. You have your own network. Been planning to leave Min-ho for months. He says it matter-of-factly, like admitting he'd been planning a vacation. I just needed a reason to finally do it. Ngozi absorbs this. And I'm that reason. Jin-woo's gaze drops to her lips, then back up. You're every reason. Air between them thickens. She becomes acutely aware of how close he's standing, of the warmth of his fingers still touching her chin, of how long it's been since anyone looked at her like she mattered. She steps back. Not because she doesn't want him close, she does, and that's the problem. But she won't fall into another man's orbit so quickly. She won't become someone who defines herself by whoever's bed she's sharing. We should go, she says, proud of how steady her voice sounds. Something like respect flashes in Jin-woo's eyes. He nods, steps back, gives her space. When you're ready. Drive to Gangnam is tense. Jin-woo's phone buzzes constantly, updates from his people, she assumes. His jaw tightens with each message, but he doesn't share the contents. Protecting her or controlling information? She can't tell yet. His apartment is a revelation. She expected cold minimalism, the aesthetic of a man who doesn't really live anywhere. Instead, she finds warmth. Bookshelves overflowing with philosophy and poetry. A kitchen that's clearly used, not just decorated. Photographs of a woman who shares his eyes, his mother, she guesses, from the way he glances at the picture when he thinks she's not looking. Surprised, he observes. I expected you to live like a weapon. You live like a person. I am a person. He says it quietly, almost to himself. I try to remember that. Vulnerability in those words cracks something open in her chest. She thinks of the men she's known, Min-ho, who wore his humanity like a costume, her father who buried his beneath years of hard labor, this man who kills without hesitation but fills his home with poetry. Why me? The question spills out before she can stop it. You could have chosen anyone, someone easier, someone who doesn't come with a crime lord's vendetta attached. Jin-woo sets down the phone he's been checking, gives her his full attention. Do you remember the syndicate gala last year? The one where Min-ho got drunk and started insulting the ambassador's wife. Ngozi frowns, memory surfacing. I remember. I spent an hour doing damage control, apologizing to everyone he offended. While he took credit for smoothing things over the next day. Jin-woo's voice hardens. I watched you navigate that room like a diplomat, charming, graceful, cleaning up his messes without ever making him look bad. And then I saw you in the bathroom afterward. Stomach drops. You saw, the door was open a crack. You were crying, not loud, not dramatic, just exhausted, broken. And then you fixed your makeup, straightened your spine, and walked back out like nothing happened. He steps closer. That's when I knew. What? That you were the strongest person I'd ever met, and that Min-ho didn't deserve to breathe the same air as you. Ngozi's throat tightens. No one has ever seen her breakdowns as strength before. They've seen weakness, neediness, too much emotion. But Jin-woo saw her fall apart and somehow found power in the way she put herself back together. A notification chimes on his phone. He checks it and his expression shifts to stone. What is it? Min-ho's made his first move. He turns the screen toward her. A news article just posted. Foreign gallery owner under investigation for art fraud. Allegations of trafficking stolen artifacts. Ngozi's blood runs cold. I've never trafficked anything. Every piece in my gallery has documentation. He's fabricated evidence, bought officials. Jin-woo's voice is flat. By morning, you'll be facing arrest. Walls close in. Everything she's built, her gallery, her reputation, her future, crumbling because she dared to leave a man who thought she was nothing. What do we do? She whispers. Jin-woo pockets his phone. When he looks at her, his eyes hold something fierce and unbreakable. We go to war. War. Ngozi learns. Doesn't look like gunfire and explosions. It looks like phone calls at 3 a.m. It looks like Jin-woo packing his living room, speaking to lawyers, journalists, and men whose names he never shares. It looks like watching her life dismantle piece by piece through news alerts on her phone while she sits helpless on a stranger's couch. By dawn, the fraud allegations have spread to every major Korean news outlet. Her gallery's website crashes from traffic. Her phone fills with messages from artists demanding explanations, collectors withdrawing pieces, friends who suddenly have nothing to say. One text cuts deepest. Her mother, calling from Lagos at 6 a.m. Ngozi, what is happening? Emmanuel showed us news articles. They're saying terrible things. Please tell me it's lies. She types back with shaking fingers. It's lies, Mama. I'll fix it. I promise. But she doesn't know if she can. Jin-woo finds her on the balcony as the sun rises over Gangnam. She hasn't slept, hasn't eaten, hasn't done anything except watch her reputation burn while Min-ho pours gasoline from the shadows. You should rest, Jin-woo says quietly, joining her at the railing. I should fight. Her voice cracks. But I don't know how to fight this. He's not coming at me with fists or weapons. He's coming at me with lies, and I don't. She breaks off, pressing her palms against her eyes. I don't know how to punch a lie. Jin-woo is silent for a moment. Then he does something unexpected. He removes his jacket and drapes it over her shoulders. The gesture is so gentle, so contrary to everything she knows about him, that her composure finally shatters. She doesn't sob. The tears are quiet, sliding down her cheeks like confessions. She's so tired of being strong, so tired of holding herself together while the world tries to break her apart. Tell you a secret, Jin-woo says softly, leaning against the railing beside her. Min-ho isn't as powerful as he pretends. Half his empire is built on fear of me. Without my enforcement, his threats are hollow. Ngozi wipes her face. Then why hasn't his empire collapsed since you left? Because it's been 12 hours. A ghost of a smile. Give it time. She wants to believe him. But hope feels dangerous right now, like another thing that can be weaponized against her. There's something else, Jin-woo continues. Something I didn't want to tell you until I confirmed it, but you deserve to know. Stomach clenches. What? Min-ho's mother is dying. Cancer stage 4. She has weeks, maybe days. Jin-woo's expression hardens. He's desperate to secure his position as heir before she passes. The syndicate council will choose new leadership once she's gone, and without a stable image, a wife, a family, the appearance of legitimacy, his claim weakens. Understanding dawns slowly. He wanted to marry me, was going to propose next month. I saw the ring in his safe, heard him discussing it with his advisors. Jin-woo turns to face her fully. You were never just a bed warmer to him, Ngozi. You were a strategic asset. A beautiful, accomplished foreigner who could soften his image, appeal to international partners, make him look human. Revelation should hurt. Instead, it ignites something cold and clarifying in her chest. So when he said I wasn't worth marrying, he was performing for the council members in that room, establishing that he controlled you, not the other way around, making sure no one saw you as a threat to his power. Jin-woo's jaw tightens. He would have proposed the next day with flowers and apologies, and you would have said yes because you didn't know you had other options. Ngozi absorbs this. The manipulation layers upon layers. The way Min-ho played her like an instrument, pressing exactly the right keys to produce the sounds he wanted. But now I'm a liability, she says slowly. Because I left publicly, because I embarrassed him in front of his people, because, she looks at Jin-woo, because I chose his enforcer over him. So this isn't just about punishment. It's about eliminating me as a factor before the council vote. Jin-woo's eyes flash with something like pride. You understand faster than most. I survived Lagos politics. A bitter laugh escapes her. Korean Mafia games aren't that different, just better suits. Door to the balcony slides open. A young man Ngozi doesn't recognize steps out, bowing slightly to Jin-woo. Boss, we found it. Jin-woo straightens. Show me. The next hour changes everything. In Jin-woo's study, surrounded by monitors and equipment that looks more spy thriller than apartment decor, Ngozi watches as his people dismantle Min-ho's frame job piece by piece. The fabricated evidence, emails, shipping records, bank transfers, all traces back to a server controlled by Min-ho's tech specialist. A man who, as it turns out, has been skimming money from the syndicate for years and is very motivated to cooperate when presented with proof of his crimes. We can release this to the press within hours. The young man Di-young, she learns, explains. Prove the allegations against your gallery are manufactured. But, Ngozi prompts. But it won't stop Min-ho from coming after you another way. This is one attack. He has dozens planned. Jin-woo nods slowly. Then we don't just defend, we strike. Plan they develop is elegant in its brutality. Jin-woo knows every skeleton in Min-ho's closet, every bribe, every buried body, every deal made in darkness. He's been the keeper of those secrets for 3 years, the silent witness to an empire built on blood and blackmail. Now he becomes the weapon turned against its maker. Ngozi watches him work, watches the cold precision with which he assembles evidence packages, makes calls, deploys his people. This is who he is, she realizes, not just an assassin, a strategist. A chess player who's been studying the board for years, waiting for the right moment to flip it. Been planning this, she says during a rare quiet moment. Not just leaving, destroying him. Jin-woo doesn't deny it. Min-ho killed my mother. The words drop like stones into still water. He made it look like a robbery. Hired men I didn't know, used guns that couldn't be traced, but I found out anyway. His voice remains flat, controlled, but his hands tremble slightly. I've spent 3 years pretending to be his brother while plotting his downfall. I just needed leverage powerful enough to survive his retaliation. I'm that leverage. No. He turns to her, and his eyes are raw in a way that makes her chest ache. You're the reason I stopped wanting revenge and started wanting something to live for. Confession hangs between them, fragile and enormous. Ngozi doesn't know what to say. This man has lied beside Min-ho for years, smiled at the man who murdered his mother, bided his time with patience that borders on inhuman. And now he's telling her she matters more than vengeance. She steps closer, reaches up, touches the scar on his eyebrow with trembling fingers. This is insane, she whispers. I know. We've known each other for 12 hours. Watched you for 8 months. That's creepy. A surprised laugh escapes him. I know that too. She should step back, should maintain distance, protect herself, remember that she just escaped one dangerous man and falling for another is the definition of insanity. Instead, she rises on her toes and presses her lips to his. The kiss starts gentle, a question more than an answer. But Jin-woo makes a sound deep in his throat, and suddenly his hands are in her hair and she's pressed against the bookshelf and the world outside ceases to exist. He kisses like a man starving. Like she's water in a desert, like every moment not touching her was agony barely endured. His body is solid against hers, all muscle and barely controlled need, and when his lips travel to her neck, she gasps loud enough to echo. "Tell me to stop," he breathes against her skin. "Tell me and I will." "Don't stop." Words are barely out before he lifts her, her legs wrapping around his waist, and carries her toward the bedroom. Later, she'll wonder at the speed of this, the recklessness. But right now, with his hands reverently tracing her curves and his lips whispering her name like a prayer, all she can think is that she's never felt so wanted in her entire life. They fall into sheets that smell like him, sandalwood and something darker. His fingers find the zipper at the back of her dress. "Are you sure?" he asks, and the vulnerability in his voice undoes her completely. Never been more sure of anything. Dress falls away. His shirt follows. And as his body covers hers, as his lips trace paths across her skin that make her shatter and reform, Ngozi understands that she hasn't just escaped Min-ho. She's found something worth fighting for. Hours later, wrapped in his arms while morning light filters through the blinds. She traces the scars across his chest, a map of violence, of survival, of a life spent in shadows. "What happens now?" she whispers. Jin-woo presses a kiss to her forehead. "Now we finish what we started." His phone buzzes, he checks it, and his expression transforms to ice. "What is it?" "Min-ho's mother died an hour ago." He sits up, every line of his body taut. "The council meeting is tonight. He's making his move for control of the syndicate." "If he gets it," Jin-woo looks at her, and the cold promise in his eyes sends a shiver down her spine. "He won't." Syndicate Council meets in a temple outside Seoul, a place of ancient wood and modern secrets. Ngozi watches Jin-woo dress in silence, each piece of clothing a layer of armor. Black suit, black shirt, black tie. He looks like death walking, and she supposes that's the point. "You don't have to come," he says without turning. "Try to stop me." Does turn then, and something warm breaks through the cold mask he's constructing. "I told you that you'd be trouble." "I told you the very best kind." Drive takes 45 minutes. Jin-woo's men flank them in separate vehicles, a small army loyal to a man who never asked for soldiers but earned them anyway. De-young briefs them through the car's speakers. Council members arriving, security positions, Min-ho's reinforcements. The numbers aren't in their favor. "He has 30 men," Ngozi observes. "You have 12, quality over quantity." Jin-woo's hand finds hers in the darkness between their seats. "Besides, I have something he doesn't." "What's that?" "The truth, and you." Heart stutters. She squeezes his fingers, draws strength from the contact. In 36 hours, her entire life has transformed. She's gone from invisible girlfriend to target to whatever she is now, partner, ally, something more that neither of them has named yet. The temple appears through the trees, lit by torches that cast dancing shadows across ancient stone. Men in dark suits guard every entrance. The air smells of incense and old money and violence waiting to happen. Jin-woo stops the car at the edge of the clearing, turns to face her. If something goes wrong, nothing will go wrong. Ngozi. His voice roughens. If something goes wrong, De-young will get you out. He knows safe houses across 3 countries. He has documents prepared, new identity, new life, everything you need. She cups his face in her hands. "I'm not running, not from Min-ho, not from anything. Whatever happens in there, we face it together." For a moment, he just looks at her. Then he kisses her, deep and desperate and full of words neither of them has spoken yet. "Together," he agrees against her lips. They enter the temple side by side. The council chamber is vast, all gleaming wood and low cushions arranged around a central altar. 7 men occupy positions of honor, the leaders of Seoul's most powerful criminal factions. Min-ho kneels at the head, dressed in white mourning clothes, playing the grieving son to perfection. His expression when he sees Ngozi could curdle milk. "You bring an outsider to sacred ground." Min-ho's voice drips contempt. "Have you lost all respect, Park Jin-woo?" Jin-woo doesn't answer. He walks to the center of the chamber, pulls out his phone, and plays a recording. The room falls silent. Min-ho's voice fills the space, clear and damning. "Make it look like a robbery. Nothing traces back to me. And Jin-woo never finds out. If he learns I killed his mother, he'll destroy everything." Words echo off ancient walls. 7 council members exchange glances loaded with calculation. Min-ho's face drains of color. "That's fabricated," he snarls. "Deepfake technology. Voice authentication confirms it's you," Jin-woo interrupts calmly. "Timestamp places it 3 days before my mother's murder and the man you hired." He gestures toward the door. He's very eager to testify. A thin man Ngozi doesn't recognize shuffles into the chamber, flanked by 2 of Jin-woo's people. He looks terrified, broken, a tool that outlived its usefulness. Tell them, Jin-woo commands. The man tells them, every detail. The money, the orders, the way Min-ho laughed when he heard the job was done. By the time he finishes, even the coldest council members look disturbed. Min-ho rises, face twisted with fury. You think you can waltz in here and destroy me with accusations? I am Kang Min-ho. My family built this syndicate. Your family built nothing. Jin-woo's voice cuts like a blade. Your mother built. Your grandmother built. You inherited and rotted it from within. Bribes, embezzlement, murders covered up, allies betrayed. He produces a folder, throws it at the feet of the nearest council member. Every secret, every body, every lie. Choose your next leader carefully, gentlemen, because the man kneeling before you isn't fit to lead a funeral procession, let alone the syndicate. Chaos erupts. Min-ho moves first, pulling a weapon from his robes. But Jin-woo is faster, always faster, and his bullet finds Min-ho's shoulder before the other man can aim. Min-ho screams, crashes to his knees. His men surge forward, but Jin-woo's people are already positioned, weapons drawn, a standoff that turns the ancient temple into a powder keg. Enough. The oldest council member rises slowly. His name is Elder Yun, and even Ngozi can see the power that radiates from him. There will be no blood in this sacred place. Lower your weapons, all of you. Silence stretches. Then, one by one, guns lower. Even Min-ho's men, seeing their leader bleeding and broken, choose survival over loyalty. Elder Yun approaches Min-ho, looks down at him with something like disgust. Your mother was a great woman, he says quietly. She would be ashamed of what you've become. Min-ho's face crumbles. For a moment, Ngozi almost feels sorry for him. Almost. Then she remembers the news articles, the fabricated charges. The way he looked at her like she was furniture, disposable, nothing. Sympathy dies. Elder Yun turns to Jin-woo. You've brought serious accusations, provided compelling evidence, but you've also disrupted sacred council proceedings and brought an outsider. His eyes flick to Ngozi. Into our most protected space. Jin-woo bows his head slightly. The outsider is my fiancée. She comes with me or not at all. Murmurs ripple through the council. Ngozi feels the weight of their assessment, their judgment. These men don't see her as a person. They see a variable, a liability, a foreign element in their carefully controlled world. She steps forward. Respected elders. Her Korean is careful but fluent, and she sees surprise register on several faces. I know I don't belong here. I know my presence complicates things. But I've learned something important in the last 2 days. Belonging isn't about blood or birthplace. It's about what you're willing to fight for. She gestures to Jin-woo. This man didn't choose me because I was convenient. He chose me because he saw my strength when everyone else saw weakness. He fought for me when fighting meant losing everything. Voice strengthens. So I'm asking you to see the same thing he did. Not a foreigner, not an outsider, but a woman who stands by the people she loves, no matter the cost. Chamber falls silent. Elder Yun studies her for a long moment. Then, incredibly, he smiles. Kang Min-ho said she wasn't worth marrying. He looks around at his fellow council members. I believe he miscalculated. One by one, the elders nod. What happens next is swift and decisive. Min-ho is stripped of his position, his assets frozen, his fate left to council judgment. Jin-woo is offered leadership of the syndicate, an offer he declines to everyone's shock. Have other plans, he says, looking at Ngozi. Less blood, more living. Council accepts his refusal with grace. A new leader will be chosen, one without Jin-woo's talents for violence but perhaps more suited to the political games ahead. In the car afterward, Ngozi finally lets herself breathe. It's over, she whispers. War is over. Jin-woo's hand finds hers again. But our story is just beginning. 3 months later, Ngozi stands in her gallery, rebuilt, reopened, thriving. The fraud charges were dropped within a week of Min-ho's fall, replaced by headlines about her courage and resilience. Artists who abandoned her have returned, sheepish and apologetic. New ones seek her out daily. But the best part of her new life walks through the door at 6 every evening. Jin-woo has kept his word about less blood. He consults for legitimate security companies now, using his skills to protect rather than destroy. The darkness hasn't left him entirely. She sees it sometimes in the way he scans crowds, the way his body never fully relaxes, but it's balanced now by something softer. Something that looks at her like she hung the moon. He asks, offering his hand. She takes it. For what? Dinner. Your mother is flying in tomorrow. And I need to review proper Nigerian greetings. I refuse to embarrass myself in front of my future mother-in-law. Ngozi laughs, a sound that comes easier these days. You've already memorized 5 different dialects of Igbo. I think you'll survive. Survival isn't the goal. He pulls her close, kisses her forehead. Impressing her is. They walk out into the Seoul evening together, leaving the gallery lights glowing behind them. Tomorrow her mother arrives. Next month her siblings visit. In 3 months, they'll marry in a ceremony that blends Korean tradition with Nigerian celebration, 2 worlds becoming one. But tonight, it's just them. Jin-woo and Ngozi, assassin and artist. 2 people who found each other in the wreckage of someone else's cruelty and built something beautiful from the ashes. The ring on her finger catches the streetlight, amber and black diamonds, the same one he pulled out on bended knee in Min-ho's penthouse. She's never taken it off. Love you, she says, the words easier each time. Jin-woo stops walking, turns to face her. In his eyes, she sees everything, the violence he's capable of, the tenderness he reserves only for her, the future they're building together. I loved you before I knew your name, he responds. I'll love you long after we're both dust. She kisses him under the Seoul stars, surrounded by a city that once made her feel invisible. But not anymore, never again. Some wars end in destruction. Theirs ended in forever. If you enjoyed this story, please make sure to subscribe for more videos like this. And let us know in the comment section how we can make this more interesting to you. See you in another story.